My name's Lee. Thank you, Kelsey, for the introduction, and Jordan as well. Really excited to be here in Istanbul. The stage is a little bit intimidating, actually, looking out on this amazing space of people. But the role at CKX is an organization based in Canada, and we do a lot of work around reflective practice and supporting change makers with opportunities for deep learning, reflective practice, and knowledge exchange. And we do that in a number of ways. But what we're going to be doing over the course of Wayfinder, so I'm going to come up a few times over the course of Wayfinder to actually embody some of that reflective practice. Oh, here they are. Okay, great. These are my kids. And my kids are my greatest teachers. This is only two of my children. I actually have a third child. Jacob, my oldest, he's far too cool to pose for pictures with his dad. But this is my daughter, Michaela, and my son, Philippe Alexandre. And the first exercise I want us to do is I was inspired this morning by Talia's talk, and also the din of the children downstairs earlier today. That energy, that ebullience, that sort of beautiful energy that I was like, oh, they're so innocent and curious, and everything is possible. So I want us to go back. So raise your hand if you have children. Okay. And raise your hand if you were once 10 years old. So that's everyone. So whatever frame you want to use, I want you for the next minute to think about, both of my kids are around 10 years old. And we're talking about the next 10 years of social innovation. And I want you to think, I'll tell a story about actually trying to explain my work to my children. How do you explain social innovation to a 10-year-old? I don't understand it right now as an adult, so trying to explain it to a 10-year-old. But the clearest articulation I had about what is social innovation and what does Dad do all day, beyond playing with Post-it notes and Lego and other things in sort of design spaces. But to Philippe Alexandre, I tell him, Daddy helps other people make the world a better place. That's the simplest articulation of what I could say social innovation means. And my 10-year-old gets it. And there's a curiosity of a child, an innocence that we sometimes lose. We beat it out of ourselves in formal systems and education and schools and things like that. And we sort of lose that sense of wonder. And what I'd like to invite you to do now for the next minute or so is to either imagine your own 10-year-old child, if you have a child that's about that age, or yourself as a 10-year-old. And ask yourself, why are you here at Wayfinder? And ask yourself the question from the perspective of a 10-year-old with that curiosity. I'm not going to ask you to share the answer. I really want you to think deeply about the question, why you are here. And think about yourself either as a 10-year-old or how you would think about that if your 10-year-old child was asking you that question. And just take a moment and think about that from this perspective. Do we have some thinking music or something? Do we have? Maybe not. Michaela would be really embarrassed to know that she's on a giant screen in front of, oh, there's the thinking music, excellent. Oh, you can put it back up. Okay, so my challenge to you for the rest of the day and a half is to not lose that sense of wonder, that sense of curiosity. And ask yourself, next time you hear a child laughing or yourself questioning something, I don't get this system, just imagine yourself as a 10-year-old child. And think about how you're acting in that space and how you're thinking about your interventions and participation from the perspective of, in my case, Phil and Michaela, and in the case, your own children or yourself as a 10-year-old. So I invite you to do that, keep that mindful throughout the day, and I'll be back at the end of the day with another question for you guys to think about before we wrap. Thank you.